Hi to all our Roastbrief community. We are here today with Ben Williams, Chief Brand Experience Officer at TBWA WW Worldwide. We are very glad to have you here today. Thank you for accepting this interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Thank you. So Ben, tell us, you have been at TBWA for 9 months now. And what do you find interesting about this role, and where do you see the opportunities of TBWA?
Yeah, it's I'm 9 months in, as you said, and I came from RGA, so I was 10 years at RGA. And coming into TBWA, it's just an amazing collective. I think the broad set of skills and capabilities that the collective has was what drew me in, and the notion of disruption, just the type of work and the type of thinking, the methodology, and the approach to creativity was what really attracted me to it. And so my title is Global Chief Creative Experience Officer, which is sort of a nod to the worlds that we're trying to bring together, which is the world of creativity and the world of experience as we think about where the world's headed, thinking about those two things coming together.
Perfect. You were at Cannes this year. So what are your impressions of the festival and how it has changed after 2 years of not having a physical event? What themes did you see in the work that it was presented, and what are the insights that you extract from that?
Yeah, really interesting. I mean, it was interesting to be at Cannes, being back in person. There was an energy which was great. There was an energy of just people being back and seeing each other and being physically in the same space, which was great. But the themes in terms of the work, I think there was we saw a continuation of purpose. So the work was there was a lot of work focused on purpose. I think there was something like, don't quote me, but it was 80% or so of the work that was awarded was actually purpose-driven or had a cause associated with it. And what we saw was that purpose has sort of matured, so that there was a strong connection. The work that was really awarded had a really strong connection to its brand purpose. So if it was for whatever brand, it was there was a tight connection between the cause or the purpose and the actual sort of brand DNA and the core purpose of the brand as well. So that's what we saw in terms of that. Another theme that we saw was technology. It's sort of been evolving over the last few years, and it's been there for previous shows for sure. What we saw was just an explosion of it. The technology, the new spaces and the new technologies and platforms were kind of core to the thinking, not done as an experiment like they might have done in years past, but they were core to the thinking, they were core to the idea, they were core to the expression of how they might be engaging or connecting with their consumers. So we definitely saw that new technologies and spaces showing up in a big way.
Mm-hmm. So what is the role of creativity in the new world we are living, and how is that impacting the role of the CCO?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the world of creativity, I like to say that we're going through a creative revolution right now. We're just seeing creativity coming to life in new and interesting ways. And what we're seeing is creativity going far beyond advertising. So it's inclusive of the world of experience, hence my reflection in my title. But we're thinking about consumer engagement in terms of membership, subscriptions, all of that when you look at it through the lens of creativity, gets really, really interesting. So I think the role of the CCO is to understand those spaces, not just think of the TV spot, even though it's inclusive of that. We're still going to do traditional advertising and out of home and print and things like that. But the CCO and creatives in general need to start thinking about what's the intent behind that? What's the connective tissue to an experience? Or, as people think about and how they engage with each other and the world and brands more specifically, they engage with them really differently now. And so we need to be encompassing those different touch points, whether it be a digital experience or a physical experience and things like that. So I think creativity's expanded to include those spaces.
That's like disruptive creativity.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
Thinking out of the same creativity to connect it with another dots and with another points.
Exactly. Like thinking about the intention, the journey that somebody's going to go on. If they see the outdoor, how do we connect it to some of the other touch points that the brand might be doing?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So talent has been a big topic of industry discussion lately. What do creative people need to thrive and to do their best work?
Yeah, I think to do their best work, it's been an interesting topic and was something that we talked about at Cannes as well, of just what talent needs in today. And I think they're looking for, they've been disrupted, right? We've all been disrupted over the last few years with the pandemic. And I think what they're looking for is more of a balance. I think more of a balance, the old sort of definition of it was a work-life balance. But what they're looking for is recognition of their work and their efforts. And they're looking for that balance where they're thinking, and they want the flexibility, and it doesn't have to be 9 to 5. They want it to fit in with their lifestyle as much as, work fitting into their lifestyle as much as their lifestyle needing to fit into work. So they're really asking for and looking for that balance of work and life, and how does it fit in. They're still wanting to work, and they're still wanting to do great creative work. They're just wanting to do it in a way that's suitable for them and suitable for their sort of goals and ambitions.
Exactly, that's what we want.
Exactly.
As younger generations.
Exactly.
And finally, the last question is that you are newer to TBWA, but you worked closely with the region before.
Yep.
So what will you say is the creative superpower of LATAM?
I think LATAM, like you said, I worked with the region in my past roles. What's really interesting and what I've seen just as a common thread is just a get it done attitude. And by that I mean just a way to figure out, problem solving, like getting to things, making things, thinking of things in new ways, in interesting ways, and not being scared of figuring out how to make it work and bringing it to life. And so there's just a passion. I love, specifically Mexico, I love the creative kind of DNA of the country. There's, from food to art to architecture. I'm in awe of just creativity sort of like embedded in the culture here. But I think, the common thread across LATAM is probably that sort of get it done, the ability to sort of think outside the box and problem solve is definitely a creative superpower.
Nice. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've finished this interview, and thank you for being here with us.
Great.
And thank you for our audience to staying with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Great to be here.